You are Locked On Coogs, your daily podcast on the Houston Cougars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Parker Ranger, the Locked On Coogs. You're joined by Eric Lilly, Bearcat Bunch on your social media handles of Chatterbox Bearcats. Eric, you said that, this team's been up and down and been a roller coaster. I think part of that's because of the talent. Like, there are games they're going to win just because they have the talent to win games, regardless of kind of how things are meshing and gelling or whatever. I'm going to ask you about Jizzle because that's a fun name to say a bunch of times. I'm going to ask about Day and Bonongo. I'm going to say that wrong 12 times, I guess. But Dillon Mitchell, look, this guy was a killer at Texas. He had a really great game at Texas against Houston last year in Austin. I frankly thought he was an impressive athlete coming out of high school, went to Montverde. I'm pretty sure he was a top 10 recruit in the country. My memory could be fading there. I got to be honest, when I saw that Wes Miller got this guy, I was like, how is that guy not in the league already? Like, he was supposed to be that kind of talented at a high school. I was kind of worried about it. The year's been a roller coaster that hasn't quite panned out like that. I guess he is getting 10 points and 6.5 rebounds and so on per game. Talk to me about Dillon Mitchell. What's that integration been like? And am I scared of nothing, or is there really potential there?
So Dillon has a thing that like a lot of our players have. We're really athletic, talented, but we don't like really use it in the right ways. Like, we're not very good at finishing at the rim or even getting a bunch of rim attempts for how many athletes we have, which is just crazy. I think the only way that'll really affect you guys is if you turn the ball over a lot and we maybe get in transition. In the half court, we have a little lob thing going on, but I mean, I've watched enough Houston basketball to know that's just not going to happen. Villanova did a really good job taking it away. During that entire month of January, we had like 0 lobs, and all the other months we had 1 million. Really good defenses know how to take it away. And you guys have like 4 centers with 7'6" wingspans. So
they're only 6'8", but they have 7'6" wingspans. Well, and yeah. Dillon, I guess he's listed as a power forward for Cincinnati. The matchup there for Houston will be with Juwan Roberts. Not to sound intimidating here, that is the winningest player in program history. He's been there for a handful of years. Obviously, COVID years help and stuff like that, right? But and so I guess my thought is Juwan is a more traditional power forward. Got a great lefty hook and that kind of stuff. Dillon is a guy that's going to be out on the perimeter looking to attack, I imagine. Do you think that's something that goes in your favor, or is the veteran thing going to kind of wear him down? I guess I didn't realize he was playing the 4 until I was looking stuff up about these guys. Yeah,
we actually, when we got him, a lot of people thought he would be able to play small ball 5, and we've been doing it lately, mostly because our backup 5 kind of isn't ready yet. We thought he would be ready, and he's not. His name's Arrington Page. It's layup lines when he's in at the 5. His rim protection and athleticism is much more as like a secondary. If he's the only guy down there, it's a joke. Anybody can do it. So I don't think we're going to see that against Houston. but to your point on offense, he has been shooting some threes, and I think that might surprise some Cougars fans that like might also watch Texas. He had not made a 3 in his career before coming to Cincinnati. And it was a thing that people talk about. Like they always say he's going to shoot 3s this year, and he doesn't. And he's actually shooting them this year, and he has made, I don't know how many off the top of my head, but maybe 10. Like, he's made a decent amount, including a big one last game. And we beat Baylor by 2. So, and to your point, you mentioned the day we got Dillon. You know what I did when we got Dillon Mitchell? I bet $50 on Cincinnati to win that. I like to do some crazy futures bets every once in a while. I did 50 on UC to win the whole damn thing for $8,000, and it's not going to happen. But it was a fun day.
There are worse ways to spend $50.
Absolutely.
You gotta have faith in your guys. I kind of love that. I'm going to assume because this is a FanDuel show that you did at FanDuel, I'm not going to ask more questions on that.
That's true.
So Dillon Mitchell, athletic guy. again, I thought he did pretty well against Houston a year ago on a Texas team that I think, bluntly, like Texas always does, kind of underperformed around him. The guy who hurt Houston at Cincinnati last year was Jizzle James, and Houston had Jamal Shed covering him, and it didn't. He kind of got Jamal Shed into foul trouble. Like, it didn't seem to matter. Not to make the running back comparison because of his father being Edgerrin James or whatever, but he was incredibly aggressive, strong, quick, all those kinds of things. He is leading the points per games this year, so I imagine that some of that has transitioned over. Is he the kind of guy that's going to spear some sort of an upset here? What can you tell about Jizzle in the matchup? And I don't know if you watch Miles Uzan a lot, but he's a little bit bigger guy than Jizzle is. How do you think that fares?
Yeah, and Jizzle's like, I think the running back comparison, like, I hear it on every broadcast, so it gets a little annoying, but it's actually accurate. Like you said, like he's more physical than he looks. He's just insanely confident. Like, and I don't know if Houston fans know this, maybe some like on the diehard insiders, stuff like that, maybe, but from what I've heard close to the program here, that Houston gave him a little ring after the season last year. So I think Kelvin Sampson was impressed by him too.
Houston wasn't in the market for a point guard. They did bring in a guy from Oklahoma, so it was someone they had played.
And that was a good pickup. I mean, he's been great.
I don't know how much more I'm going to go into than that.
Yeah. I don't want to say anything more than that. Well, you know how college sports are right now. It's just how it goes. But in terms of the game on Saturday in Jizzle, I think like Cincinnati's path to winning, and there's like one, right? Like, let's be honest here. Like Ken Palm says we have a 9% chance or something. I would put it closer to like 4. And we're not winning the game at the rim. If we win the game, it'll be because our guards and perimeter players are just tearing up the mid-range and then in 3 balls. And that's what Jizzle does right now. If you look at his last 10 games, he's just been going berserk like crazy. He's been our best player by a long shot. So definitely someone you want to like try to lock down early.
So you mentioned that it would fall back to the 3 ball if this one happened. Now, a guy that I don't think Houston Cougar fans are going to know a lot about, but they might remember, I guess he was at Butler 2 years ago. This kid, I'm going to butcher the name, Simas
Lukosius.
Simas Lukosius. I pronounce that last name, Lukosius. That's not how I would have guessed, but I'll take it. Lithuanian guy, 6'6". He shoots a lot of threes. Is that because he's the only one that can? Like how functional is that for what Cincinnati is trying to do?
He's the only guy we have that like takes those threes off screens, like just no matter what. Like he just has a much wider variety of threes he'll shoot. He also shoots from 3-point range with no problem. One thing with Simas that you should be watching for is he just came back from an injury and didn't play much against Baylor. His shooting shoulder. So he did hit 2 threes versus Baylor, but you could tell he's still like working back up to speed. If we win, he will be involved just because of the 3-point threat. He's not a great defender, but he's physical. Like you're not going to post him up, but if he's on the perimeter and you have a guard that can drive, and he gets switched onto that, the guard's going to have some fun.
Well, and he's 6'7". I got 225 here on one website listed. Potential upset could happen, what the path to victory could look like for a Cincinnati Bearcat team in a second. Because again, I thought these games were pretty close and competitive a year ago. But before we get to all of that, our other buddies bringing today's show are over at Prize Picks, because March basketball is here, and there's no better way to get on the action than with Prize Picks, the best place for daily fantasy sports. With Prize Picks, you just pick more or less on at least 2-player projections, and if you're right, you can get up to 1,000 times your cash. It's fast, easy, and keeps every game exciting. You can build lineups between individual players in the NBA. They'll have all kinds of stuff when baseball comes around as well. I love how you can like pick things in like less than 60 seconds, just throw it together and stay engaged all evening. If you got nothing else, no other reason to be paying attention, you can get on the action with Prize Picks, quick payouts. They have fun things like Taco Tuesday and stuff, all kinds of cool stuff over there. Download the app today and use code Locked On College to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's Locked On College, code Locked On College for $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game.